Ryan22 here, and welcome back to my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. Now, this is I'd like to kick off week 2 with a real big bang, and tonight we're actually going to take a look at Trick or Treat, the 2008 film that had been held back for some time, but now finally it's been released to DVD and Blu-ray. So I'm really excited to talk about this one. Before I jump into the review, I just want everyone to know that I actually have a new DVD update in the DVD update playlist, and as I had said in my original announcement, I wasn't going to make any of the other videos aside from the Halloween Marathon videos the main video. So in case anybody was interested, there is a new DVD update October 7th listed in the DVD update playlist. So if you guys have time and you're interested, take a look at that. Now, back to business. We're taking a look at Trick or Treat tonight, and this is one film that horror fans have been dying to see for some time, and now the verdict is in, and here's my opinion. I fucking loved it, guys. This movie was awesome. This is everything that a horror fan has been looking for in a Halloween-themed film for some time now. Now, the praise and all the remarks that have been said about Trick or Treat are all 100% accurate. Even on the cover of the box, it's listed as the best Halloween film of the last 30 years. And honestly, I didn't think I'd be able to stand here and review that film and actually tell you guys that sincerely, but I actually think that this film totally succeeded and lived up to those types of comments. This film was just everything that you could ask for in a Halloween-themed film. This film is Creepshow. This film is Tales from the Crypt. This film is Goosebumps. It's all of that rolled into one and then some. Now, this film actually stars the likes of Dylan Baker, Leslie Bibb, Anna Paquin, and Brian Cox, and it follows the same anthology format as such films like Creepshow and Tales from the Crypt. It deals with 4 interwoven stories, some including a school principal and his serial killer tendencies, a wife who has to put up with her husband's overindulgence of the spirit of Halloween, a lonely virgin looking for that special someone with disastrous consequences, including others as well. Now, this film, as I said, is just so incredible. I mean, I still am like, it's racing through my head the images of that film right now, and just how great it really captured that spirit of Halloween so beautifully and perfectly. Now, the writer and director, Michael Dougherty, he's been established in Hollywood for some time. Many of you guys might actually remember his work in screenwriting, as he was responsible for co-writing the scripts to X-Men 2, as well as Superman Returns. And he had actually shot a short animated film entitled Season's Greetings. That was the actual basis for this film here. And lo and behold, he actually went ahead and finally made the feature film. It's just always a real damn shame, because this film, Warner Brothers had actually planned for release in October of 2007, but for really no explanation or any reasoning, it got pulled off the slate without just any explanations for what it is. Many people have speculated that due to the release of Saw 4 that same year, they didn't want to have too much competition and get overshadowed, but nonetheless, I mean, honestly, I think that's just, if that is the reason, that really is just such a bullshit excuse for that, because these are the kinds of films that horror fans want to see in October during the festive season. Sure, Saw brings in the money every Halloween, but that's because nobody feels like they can, tackle the juggernaut that is the Saw franchise. But let me tell you something. If you have a guy like Mike Dougherty, bringing in something as creative as this is the kind of projects that film, companies need to be on the lookout if they're trying to, cash in on the Halloween season. Don't be intimidated by the juggernaut of the Saw franchise, because horror fans, as well as your general audience, will bow down to something Halloween-themed as long as it's worthy of their time. I guarantee that. And this film is exactly what, the treatment that this film got, as shitty as it is getting, released direct-to-video. It just got to a point where I think as many people were pissed off at the fact that it didn't get a theatrical release, it just was so drawn out and so long that horror fans had just heard so many great things throughout the various festival circuits and on message boards and numerous horror websites that people just wanted to fucking finally see the thing. So once it got released on Tuesday, I went to Best Buy early that morning to finally pick it up on Blu-ray, as you can see, and tonight I finally got around to viewing it for the sake of this marathon, and just, wow, guys, I mean, this is really up your alley if you're really really longing to get into that Halloween spirit and you just haven't found quite the right film to really fill that void. This is absolutely it. I mean, as much as I had been talking so much about The Gate yesterday and how about that's probably one of the most the biggest films throughout my whole marathon that people need to see, make that two films now, because Trick or Treat at this point, and I'm willing to bet that for the duration of my marathon, this is the film to see the Halloween season. You guys need to check this out. The film was just incredible. Mike Dougherty did an incredible job handling the screenwriting and directing duties, especially being that this is his directorial debut. He just brought so much flair and a vision to this that really embodied, the spirit of a suburban Halloween. I mean, just great, great, wonderful set design, fantastic colors, just great foreboding trees, the color of the leaves, the wetness and the dampness, and just, really festive. I mean, a thing a gripe that I always have with films that are set at Halloween, and even furthermore to TV specials and TV episodes that deal with Halloween as a prominent feature, is that it doesn't really. Sometimes they just fall really flat on making it known that this is a story or a film or what have you that is set on Halloween. I mean, you just don't really get the sense of like decorations, leaves. You just don't really get that feeling. This is the film that people need to take notes on. I mean, you get that it is just Halloween decorating. Just overload. I mean, just massive amounts of detailed carved pumpkins. Ghosts hanging everywhere, massive amounts of trick-or-treaters, kids giggling in the streets, candy scattered all over the place. This is the kind of film that people need to see if they want to see how to portray Halloween on film. This is absolutely the film. As far as the cast did a really good job, considering, each person, really had a limited screen time, as it were. Anna Paquin did a really good job playing the lonely version that actually encountered, was trying to find Mr. Right, but ending up in a disastrous endings at the end of her segment. And Brian Cox was just great playing, an old loony guy, wrapped up, in his old, damp house. Everybody just played their parts really well. Dylan Baker especially, just really wild and psychotic looking with that wild glare in his eyes. Everybody was just really spot on, given the small amount of screen time that they had. And surprisingly enough, this movie only has on an 82-minute runtime, and you would think that's actually relatively short, and you're right, it is relatively short. It actually plays really wonderfully, though. I mean, I was, fearful at the fact that maybe the runtime was too short for this film, when in fact it plays beautifully. I mean, when as much as I say that this is 4 interwoven stories, it definitely does not play exactly how a film, an anthology film like Creepshow did. It's really more in the vein of something like Pulp Fiction. Now that's really a closer comparison as to that. But I mean, the spirit and where these stories are really pulling their creative vibe from is really from things like Creepshow and Tales from the Crypt. Even more so with the Creepshow references, the opening title sequence and the last few snippets of before the end titles start is just this really great, wonderful thing using comic book images of the 4 segments that we're about to see unfold. It's just really great how the title sequence played out. It really took you back to those great films that you loved, such as Creepshow and the Tales from the Crypt TV show. So as I said, guys, I mean, this film is just really spot on. Get your asses out to the stores and check this one out, because it's phenomenal. It can't be missed this Halloween season. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in to my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. And again, be sure to tune in tomorrow for yet another review. Thanks again, guys. This is Frightener22.